Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Good afternoon, Assalamu alaikum, and welcome to another very special and exclusive edition of Sports Extra. I'm bringing you this content from Karachi, and it's going to be very, very interesting because we focus on women's cricket globally. And because when we talk about women's cricket, there's so much when it comes to the careers, the way the journey started, inspirational stories come into mind as well, and also I think the record books stick as well when you talk about some of these individuals. And we're going to be talking to many players, and we're particularly focusing on the visiting West Indies women's team that is in Pakistan for their series as well. And I think there's a lot to talk about. But first of all, what I'm particularly interested to talk about is the journey. Like I said, anybody who picks up a bat or a ball and wants to play cricket from childhood and then finally achieves that goal has a huge story to tell as well. So we'll talk about that in detail as well. And I'm very honored to be joined, first of all, by the skipper of the West Indies cricket team, somebody who's played across formats. When you talk about the number of games, more than 170 games, more than 4,000 runs across international cricket. And when you talk about the wickets tally, it's also ticking as well. 100 wickets in one-day internationals, and 95 in T20 internationals, almost 100 there as well. So I think the career has been spectacular so far as well. So let me just introduce you to the skipper of the West Indies women's cricket team, Hayley Matthews. Good afternoon, how are you?
Good afternoon, I'm good, thanks. And yeah, thanks for having me on the show.
Thank you for taking out time, although I know you've got a busy schedule, back-to-back games and everything as well. But like I said, first of all, it's very interesting for the viewers and for any young cricketer who's growing up to actually connect to stories. So for Hayley, where did it all start from, once you realize that, I've got a passion for cricket?
Well, look, growing up in Barbados, I think cricket's massive roots in the Caribbean is something that helps us identify ourselves in a sport that we love so much. I think for me personally, it started as a young girl. Not that I can even remember, but my father told me he used to be outside with my brother and himself playing cricket every day. And one day when I was about 7 or so, I just wanted to come outside and join and play with them. And I think he said it was pretty much history from there. I came out every day, and my first recollection of probably playing cricket and being around was in school and in a young under nines club. At the time, it was only boys because there was probably no girls program when I was so young. But yeah, just being out there wanting to play cricket, and I think I knew from the time I was about 10 or so that I wanted to do it professionally and just wanted to make a career out of it. I think at the time it was more so my love for it and just wanted to never stop playing cricket. But yeah, it's amazing to see what it's been able to turn into.
Well, what's the difference? Obviously, there's a huge one, but once you've got to convert from just playing the game because you love it, converting it into professional sports, and obviously, I think from that school time, once you turn professional, things change, life changes, the routine changes, a lot of cricketing dynamics that you never even knew come to light as well. So, how was that transformation from a cricketer by heart into a professional cricketer?
I think the thing about it is I started so young. I played for West Indies from the time I was 16 years old, and I think I was pretty fortunate with that fact. So I was still out there getting to chase my dreams at a young age, playing in a World Cup at 17 or 18 years old. So I definitely was still out there enjoying myself. I think over the last few years, as schedules became more hectic and things got professional, a lot more professional, I should say. There was definitely some up and down waves, I think, especially that came with form. But I can 100% say that up to this day, I still absolutely love the game. It does get tiring sometimes, but I love to go out there every single time. I think what cricket means in the West Indies as well, and what you can do for the people by just going out there and performing so well, definitely helps a lot to motivate you and push you too. So I'm still really loving the game and enjoying every minute out there with it.
Absolutely. Anyone who ever talks about the history of cricket will always start from the great West Indies. We know that for a fact. It's not just the Caribbean flavor, it's the historical importance that the West Indies enjoy as well, with the probably one of the biggest legends of the game that they've produced. So once you got that call up to wear the West Indian colors, talk us through your debut game as well, because what's going inside your mind, probably there's sleepless nights involved as well, the excitement, butterflies in your tummy. What was the debut call like?
Actually, mine was a bit different. So we had an 8-match series against New Zealand. It was 3 ODIs, 5 T20s, or 5 ODIs, 3 T20s, can't remember which. And I sat on the bench for the entire series up until the very last game of the series. And even the night in front, I wasn't meant to play. And the morning of the game, woke up, got on the bus, still not in the team. And Stephanie Taylor, who was captain at the time, she was ill. So I had to be a very quick switch-in replacement for her. So on debut, going out there, opening the batting, replacing Stephanie Taylor, who's one of the most prominent and legendary players in the game. She wasn't captain at the time, it was Marissa Aguilera, but obviously still such an important player within the team. And yeah, it was my first game ever. It was a T20 format, and I remember at the time Rachel Priest, she was the New Zealand wicketkeeper, and she was just sledging the hell out of me the entire time.
What better way for a debut?
Exactly. And funny enough, I think I scored about 14 or 15 off a few balls. Felt really good and really confident at the crease. You know, a young girl, 16 years old, just getting out there and enjoying. I was definitely super, super nervous, but like, enjoying it nevertheless. And then the funniest aspect I think about it is that the game was tied. So it came down to a super over. And I think at the time the series was drawn 2-2 as well. So it kind of came down to whoever won that game. And lo and behold, young 16-year-old Hayley Matthews on debut had to go and face the super over. Myself and Deandra Dotson. Unfortunately, we only got 6. And I think the first ball that we bowled was a no ball that went for a run. So I think from there, chasing 6 runs, no ball, free hit, is pretty much done from there. But yeah, quite an exciting story for a debut, heading out facing the super over, but thoroughly enjoyed it. And then my next tour was off to Australia, where I got the chance to play some ODIs as well, and had a pretty good start and a pretty good run of form against them to be able to build my confidence as well.
Now that's a beautiful story, I think, but certainly, you know, I've talked to so many international cricketers, and most of the batters have told me that once they were debuting, the first couple of deliveries, they couldn't even, you know, judge the ball, and they were just in the aura of it. So was it similar once you went on to bat? Was the focus there, or was it just the aura of I'm playing, you know, for West Indies cricket?
Yeah, I think a lot of the time you were almost numb. It's like just one of those things that kind of pass, and sometimes you even try to think back on it and the memory is not there because of the kind of phase you were in at the time. But yeah, look, I definitely think I was so young that I was still able to go out there and just enjoy myself and have fun, and I think that was a blessing for me in disguise, actually.
Playing for West Indies, or playing for any country which you're part of is an honor. But once you look at the historical aspect of it, multiple time champions, if you talk about ODI and T20 especially, the Caribbean flavor that is talked about all around the world as well. Does it give you an extra bit of confidence once you're playing against international teams?
Yeah, 100%. I think up to this day, probably a lot of people would say that West Indies is not in the best state that they're in right now. However, when you look around the world, West Indies cricket is still talked about so much, no matter our results. And I think it speaks for a lot the fact that we probably don't have or haven't had the same impact for a little while, but yet we're still so highly spoken about, and people still want to watch West Indian cricket, and it's still such an entertaining brand of cricket that people talk on years on now. So 100%, I think it adds so much just knowing that you have that West Indies badge on your shirt, and you know you're not just playing for one country or one little island. You're playing for an entire region coming together, and I think for me what makes it even more special in the Caribbean, I know a lot of the time people like to say our islands like to go at each other. They're so competitive. We've got huge rivalries between the islands, but the one thing that does bring everyone together in the Caribbean is cricket. So to be able to go out there and represent a people and know that with good performances you can literally bring an entire region together, I think helps to motivate so much as well.
I think, you know, it's plain simple. Good food, music, sea breeze, and cricket. What else do you need?
Exactly.
So you've got all that you want in your life there as well. But you know, what Hayley Matthews just mentioned is something very particular. If people talk about West Indies cricket and they say that they're not in that great era that they used to be, I would disagree. I would actually say, have you looked at their women's team? I would actually go there, and you know, because of the form they're enjoying as well. What's the impact on the community like? Obviously, once you know you've played for West Indies, if you talk about your neighborhood, people, you know, young girls in your family, in your school, probably who are coming up, would probably look at you as a role model. What is that feeling like, and how do you connect with the community?
Yeah, I think it's more so come about in the last few years. Women's cricket has obviously grown so much, I'd say in about the last 4 years or so. And I think the impact I've been able to have on young girls in the Caribbean has really started since then. I can definitely say that there's been so many young girls who've wanted to get into cricket and probably been motivated by not what only I'm doing, but so many of our girls that are now role models are out there representing West Indies cricket. There's just been Barbados Royals. They've just started a girls cricket club along with Bat for a Chance charity in Barbados, who've given the opportunity for free coaching to young girls all around Barbados. And I think it's the first time we've seen something like that happen. Unfortunately, I'm able to be an ambassador for them, and I guess kind of help to see young girls around Barbados just get the opportunities that we didn't have, I didn't have when I was growing up, to just go out there and train and fall in love with the sport. So I've been super fortunate now to have a massive platform to really be able to encourage and motivate young girls and hopefully be a really good role model. And yeah, I think the growth that we've seen over the last few years, even with the games we play in the women's CPL and the kind of crowds we've had in the first year versus the crowds we've had last year coming out, has been a drastic change and really shows that women's cricket is really on the up in the Caribbean. And with that comes so many young girls wanting to go out there and hopefully pick up cricket one day and fall in love with the sport.
Being skipper certainly is a responsibility as well. But at the same time, how do you enjoy it? How do you manage that pressure? Don't let that extra pressure. And how does the team react? Obviously, every team, every now and then has those individuals, who are tricky to manage for a skipper. So how's that relationship with the skipper and the team?
I honestly think the girls have been great. From the time I got the captaincy, they've supported me 100%. Even Stefani, who I would have gotten the captaincy from, she was always there supporting me through the transition as well. So yeah, the girls have always had my back 100%, and me as the captain, I just try to always have their backs as well. I think it's probably been about a year and a half for me now as skipper, or 2 years actually.
Yeah.
Time has flown by. 2 years now as a skipper, and yeah, I think the most important thing and what I've really tried to create is a really good culture within the team, everyone playing for one goal and working to get better every single day. And I would 100% say that the girls have grabbed onto that and really been trying to go in that direction as well, which has been super good and makes it a lot easier for me too.
I think overall it's all about how you're managing that pressure as well. And so far I think Hayley's done a fantastic job. The results speak for themselves as well. It's a bit of a cliche question, but who was the role model growing up as a cricketer? Who was the individual that you were idealizing, that I'm a fan of this?
Yeah. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. Growing up as a young girl, I was a huge Australian cricket team supporter. I had just loved the Australian cricket team, and it was mainly because of Ricky Ponting. I was just a huge fan as a young girl, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old growing up, and I was fortunate enough to get the opportunity to meet him playing for the Hobart Hurricanes. He's obviously a huge Hobart guy and has played for Tassie for a lot of his career, so had the opportunity to go down to Hobart and meet him whilst I was playing down there, which was an eye-opening time for me, and I'm really appreciative.
Certainly. My final question to you would be, how's your time been here in Pakistan so far? And obviously, is there any message you'd like to give out to so many young girls who want to be the next Hayley Matthews?
Yeah, 100%. I've really enjoyed my time here in Pakistan. I think this is my second time here now, second time at the same hotel and everything as well. But I've really enjoyed my time. I think the people here are so hospitable, from the hotel staff to the people at the grounds. It's just been fantastic to work with everyone. They treat us lovely and with so much care and consideration, which we can massively appreciate. So I enjoy my time here in Pakistan every single time I come, and I think to the young girls out there that maybe do want to pick up cricket, or even if it's not cricket, it might be another sport, it might be another job. I think the biggest thing for me as a young girl was chasing my dreams and never giving up on that. And I could have never imagined that it would have taken me to where I am today. But yeah, just chase those dreams, go for it, and always keep believing in yourself, because you never know what can happen.
Well, wonderful, and I think congratulations so far on a stellar career. Thank you so much for taking out time, and I can easily say that You already have so many fans around the world, and certainly you're inspiring a lot of young girls. Thank you very much, Hayley, for taking
Thank
our
you
time.
so much.
Well, you heard from the West Indian women's skipper herself as well. As the captain said, that it's all about that mindset that you got to have and believe in your abilities, and the time's definitely going to come as well. Stay tuned to Sports Extra because we've got some more players that we're going to be talking to and some exclusive content coming your way. And we've got some more exclusive content coming your way, and like I said, that a lot of legends to talk to as well. Now, when we talk about this player, she's definitely aced it all. Once you talk about the cricketing nation of Jamaica, a lot of talent coming from there as well. But it's been an astonishing career. You talk about the number of games, more than 9,000 runs across formats. The wicket tally is almost as huge as the numbers themselves as well. We're very honoured to be joined now by somebody who's representing West Indies women's cricket for quite some time now and acing it in the international career as well, Stephanie Taylor. Good afternoon, how are you?
Good afternoon, I'm good. Just waking up, so forgive me if I looking a bit lousy.
No, not at all. We understand that scheduling these days has become very, very hectic. But like I always talk to many players, and I say that the first bit that we want to talk about is always the journey from where it starts, because a young girl picking up a bat and a ball and then dreaming about playing for West Indies and then progressing through her career. So for Stephanie from Jamaica, where did it all start from?
I guess mine was a bit different. I played football. In some countries they call it soccer, and I played netball as well. So those two sports were probably like my fave. Growing up, I used to hide from my parents to go to the to the ball field. We call it the ball field to kick ball, and it was just football and netball, and then I actually got introduced to cricket by my coach, who actually coached me football and netball. And I think it started one morning when I turned up for training, and I saw he tied like a sock on like a post, and I said to him, like, what is that? And he said, it's cricket, if you want to try it. So I said, okay, no problem. And I took the board / bat and I started hitting it. And he said, you're a natural, you should actually play. So I said, okay. After that, he started training me, and it literally didn't take much time. And I just, to get into West Indies cricket, he actually said to me, you have female teams and they tour. And I said, oh, traveling, I would love to travel. So I think that actually got me more interested because of the whole traveling. I wanted to travel, and here I am.
That's very, very interesting. I think that's the most different story we've heard from majority of the international players that we talk about. Obviously, that journey started, and then cricket is something that you've been doing for quite some time now. The numbers speak for themselves. But what was that special call-up like once you heard that you're going to be debuting for the West Indies? Because I think that was the first milestone any amateur cricketer achieves once they turn professional.
In the Caribbean, we just like probably England, where you have like county cricket.
County cricket, yes.
We in the Caribbean, we have regional cricket. So all the regional teams, go to tournament, and pretty much the best team, you compete and you win, and then from there they pick the West Indies team. I think at the time before Cricket West Indies took over, we had like a women's federation, and they selected 15 teams. That's probably when I was like maybe about 14, 15, and they've selected 15 players to tour. And when I got selected, I was like, oh, I think they were supposed to go to, I think it was probably India, I think at the time, but they never had enough funding, so they never actually toured. And then I think probably a couple of years after that, Cricket West Indies took over, and I made my debut for West Indies when I was like probably 17 plus, where we toured Europe I was quite young. I think for me it was just enjoying, touring, being, seeing different places. I remember when I went to Holland, like it was just beautiful. And that's probably. And I think we actually went to England as well. So from Holland we went to England, and then we went to Ireland. So yeah, we toured those three places, and it was fantastic. I enjoyed it.
That's I think wonderful that they say if you love what you're doing, you're never working a single day in your life. So she was traveling, she was enjoying cricket at the same time, but it was not just time that was just enjoyable. Like I said, the numbers speak for themselves as well. So I think a lot of training, a lot of the coaching that you're doing as well definitely transcends you into an international player. But you've also had the honor of being the skipper for West Indies as well, when we talk about that. So how's that responsibility been, obviously, throughout the time once because we just heard from Hayley as well that you've been very supportive to her as well, currently as she's the skipper. So once you remember your time, how was the support like? How was the team environment? How did you enjoy that responsibility?
I think everything started when I captained Jamaica. I was quite young. I think maybe at the time 18 or 19, and I was given the responsibility. And at the time, like the team wasn't really doing so well, like amongst ourselves. Like a lot of players weren't really talking to each other, and that happens in the team. And I remember saying to the coach, like, how am I going to bridge this? Like, I'm, so young. I just want to concentrate on my cricket. And he was like, you're that person to do it. And, sometimes you don't think too much on that. Just, play your cricket. And sometimes when the team is doing well, some things, start to fall into place. And I realized that once we started doing well, like the team started coming together. And I moved from there. I still captain Jamaica, and I was given the responsibility of captain West Indies. It was different because now it's not Jamaica where you know your teammates. It's now, oh God, like other players from different territories, and it was challenging. But I had some really good support on and off the field, so that helped a whole lot.
But it's a very challenging opportunity, isn't it? Because you cannot always be the sweet person that you are. Sometimes you need to, do some. I always say cricket law enforcement as well. Tell your players, I want results. Sometimes things are going down, so you got to lift them up psychologically as well. So how's that? I mean, you've got to tell us that whether it's been once you talk about that, how do you balance that? Then you want to be a captain where players can connect to you as well, but at the same time have enough strictness in you to manage the responsibility well as well.
I don't feel like I was really so strict. I feel like a little bit of me was a bit laid back, and I was more of like an action person. So I really focused a lot like on my game, performing for the team, and hoping that that really trickles down into players. I don't think, well, looking back, I can't remember really saying to someone, oh, you need to do this or you need to do that. I think even sometimes the coaches would say to me, you're too soft as a captain. But I think probably it's just my personality. And I feel like I was more like the action kind of captain who, likes to perform, and, hopefully that sets like an example for other players to, do the same.
So the runs tally is sticking, the wickets are also there. So it's hard to pick one, I understand. It's a cliche as well, but where's been the most enjoyment as well? Taking a wicket has its own, fun and games, and then scoring runs has its own aura. So what have you enjoyed the most over your career?
I definitely enjoy batting more. Sometimes sometimes I see the all-rounder, and I'm like, oh, probably not so much.
Yeah,
but
a batter who can
more,
bowl. Yeah.
yeah, I always say a batter who could bowl, but they said no. I think you're an all-rounder. So yeah, whenever I've been given the opportunity now for bowling, I try to do my best. I know once I have the bat, like I try to go out there and perform for the team. So yeah, I love batting. I would say to people, like, I think I could bat for days once given the opportunity. That's how much I actually love it. And yeah, over the years of playing, like, it has actually helped. Once I got fitter, yeah, it actually helped with my batting.
How have you seen the evolution of women's cricket now? There's a lot more focus, a lot more games now, from not only from the ICC, but obviously it must have transformed in West Indies as well since the time you played up till now. More and more girls and more nations now. It's a lot of diversity. So how are you seeing the evolution of women's cricket?
Well, I could tell you from when I started playing, like, it has evolved a whole lot. And I remember you in a 50 over, you could make 150 runs and be like, oh yeah, this is a winning total. Now you have to be making 250 plus to make it competitive. And even in T20, 150 runs to make it competitive. And it depends on probably who's actually playing against each other. You got to score 180 to make it competitive. So from the time that I started playing till now, the game has evolved a whole lot, and I think it's going to keep evolving. What I really love is the fact that now you have more franchise cricket, where you could actually go and play. So you have WPL, which has been a huge thing for women's cricket, and even for ourselves we have the women's CPL. Hopefully in the coming years we could add more teams and make it a bit more competitive and get more overseas players to come and help develop our cricket.
Well, that's interesting because, like you mentioned as well, that it's not just the diversity of it, dynamics of the game are changing. So every now, I think the score line has gone up, like you mentioned. There's a lot more expectation now from women's teams as well.
Yeah.
And I think the competitive side of it is getting even better and better. We've seen it just recently as well. How's your time been here in Pakistan so far? I understand the scheduling, back-to-back games and everything in between is something that any international cricketer now has to be ready for. So how's your time been here so far?
It's been really good compared to the last time. I think we were subjected to our floor, but now we could actually have a wander around the hotel. And yeah, it's probably my first time being here because every time I come down it's either to the gym or to the bus. So now I'm actually seeing that, oh, you actually have an ATM and you actually have some stores. So
we've come as a blessing.
So it's really nice to know that we could actually wander around, and it's a really nice hotel. We never really got the chance to explore it the last time, so it's really nice to have a move around, and yeah, hopefully in years to come, we could actually go out and see a bit more of Pakistan, because I imagine it's actually a really beautiful place. I've seen a couple of the girls posting from Pakistan. I followed, and the places that I've seen them gone to, I was like, oh, it's actually beautiful, but we never really get the chance. And I know it's it's for security reasons, but I hope that one day we could explore it a bit more.
Cliche question, but who's the role model growing up as a cricketer? Who's the one hero that you were inspired by?
I think when I got into cricket, I actually learned about cricketers, and Chris Gayle and A.B. de Villiers at the time. I admire watching, and I never really got the chance to watch Brian Lara much, but I've heard about him and watch a little bit of footage, and yeah, I'm actually now a big Virat Kohli fan.
Certainly, I think he brings so much to the game as well, but it's a beautiful journey from, you know, seeing role models to becoming a role model yourself as well. And that's where I must ask you on a final note, there must be so many young girls out there who want to be the next Stephanie Taylor and play for West Indies or play for whichever country they're from. Is there any message you'd like to give to those young girls?
I think for me, like when I was growing up, you hear so many things about, girls can't play cricket and they're not actually good enough, and it's about proving them wrong. We can play, and it takes a lot of belief, and yeah, if it's something that you really love, you just keep going out there, keep believing, and yeah, you can do it.
Well, interesting, and congratulations so far on a stellar career, and thank you so much for being an inspiration to many girls out there.
Thank you very much.
Well, you've heard it from Stephanie Taylor. I think the numbers speak for themselves as well. But so many of you out there who probably follow her career have really got to follow this journey that, as she said, that of course girls can. They can play, they can do whatever they want in life, and not just play, but I think ace it as well. On that note, stay tuned because we've got some more interesting things to talk about and some more interesting players coming your way. Right, so now I've been joined by another representative of the West Indies women's cricket, Shameen Campbell, somebody who's got a number of games to her record, I think across format, more than 200 games. It's absolutely interesting when you talk about those numbers as well. So we're going to be talking a lot about the career and how women's cricket has evolved over the years as well. Good afternoon, Campbell, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Nice
Thank
to be
you very
here.
much for taking out time. I understand it's been very hectic in the busy schedule, but
Yeah.
it's great to have you. So, talk us through your journey so far for playing for West Indies, because it always, like I said, starts from your neighborhood, probably your home, your school, wherever you are, you're playing cricket. And once it turns professional, it's a very, very interesting story. So where did it all start for you?
Basically, started playing cricket when I was in secondary school. So it's for me always with the boys, starting playing is like whenever I get certain classroom session, I always outside on my break time playing with the guys. And I think we start playing softball, like the underarm cricket, and then from there I met someone who take me to this club, and that's why I start playing professional or ball cricket. So actually I started playing with Rosalton Youth and Sports Club, whereby I played like second division, first division, even with the guys. So that's how my cricket and career start. And then when I head into the Berbice team, which is in Guyana, and then from there to the Guyana team, and then we had like regional tournaments before I can able to be selected in the West Indies women's team.
So how was that transformation of, from an amateur cricketer, once you turn professional, a lot more technicalities then come into play? So how was that?
For me, playing softball and then going to our ball cricket, it was a bit challenging because, the softball, you don't really get it like so much it on it, but our ball, it was a hard ball whereby you get it and you get swelling and this kind of thing. But I used to enjoy it because that's something I enjoy playing, and the love for the game, I always enjoy playing it.
So once you talk about that international career, I think the highlight of the moment is once you get that first call up that you're going to be debuting for West Indies. So how was that? Where some players are nervous, some players can't even sleep considering the excitement that is there. So how was that debut for you?
Getting the first call to represent the West Indies, I can remember that is 2009 when I make my debut in South Africa. At that time I was a leg spin bowler as well, whereby my first T20 game, I even get player of the match in that game that I can remember against South Africa. So I think, it was so excited for me. I was happy. I couldn't have slept that night. It's like I was like texting my friend and like, oh, I'm a part of the team, and they was congratulating me and give me all of that support. So I think that was like something that I was always wanted to be a part of the West Indies women's team.
So once you stepped onto the field in that game, was it a nervy start, or was it that excitement turning into confidence immediately? Because the results were there, but certainly we've heard from so many players that the first 5-10 minutes they sort of like zone out. They can't even remember what's been happening.
Yeah, basically when I get on the field to play and the first T20 match, I was so nervous, I was shaking. So at that time, Anissa Mohammed and Marissa Aguilera, they was like, it's okay, Minnie, just relax, because my nickname is Minnie. So it's like, just relax and just believe in yourself and just bowl. You can do it. And I kept that belief in myself, and I just go and I start execute, and you know, everything just fall into place. And after then, I was so like feeling normal again, and the little bit of bug shaking was gone, you know.
And that confidence certainly
Everything
came in
came
then
up,
immediately. There are so many role models out there in cricket, particularly West Indies cricket has enjoyed a lot of history. It's produced the biggest legends of the game, multiple times ODI champions, T20 champions as well. So, you know, there's a lot of expectations from West Indies cricket as well. They're always talked about whichever format you talk about.
Yeah.
So, who's been that role model for you growing up? Somebody you followed, and you know, even in this day and age, that you've said that this is the player that I personally like as well.
Well, actually, everyone know I'm a big fan of Shiv Narayan Chandrapal. So, growing up, I always admire him, the way he go out and do his work, and the way he move about in his training and even playing. So, I think Chandrapal is a big role model for me, and I will always say it every day, and I will always tell people that I really admire him, the way he do his work.
A bit unorthodox, but the numbers were certainly there.
Yeah.
And he's probably, and we remember that era of West Indies cricket as well when Chandrapal was playing. That's a great team to be around, wasn't it?
Yeah, he also from Guyana as well. So,
Yes.
and I spoke to him a few times, and he gave me some tips, the way of batting and stuff. So, I think he's a very cool guy, and he's a very educated person of the game. So, yeah.
So talk us through the team that you're around as well, the dressing room environment. You were talking to your skipper as well, and a lot of interesting stories, and there's a lot of support for each other as well. How's the team environment, and how do you enjoy? Because obviously, you spend most of your time, so your team eventually becomes your family as well.
Yeah, obviously, we all are family. The girls are in some good space, and everyone is gelling good together, and we always enjoy each other company, and it's great to be around these bunch of girls, and I know they're very talented and skilled in everything that they do, and the fun come in whereby we get with fun, and then we get back on business again. So it's good to be around these girls, and we've been working pretty hard, and I love to be around them.
Who's the wittiest of them all? Who's the funniest one in the team so far?
Well, we have a few, but right now, Shamila Connell is the lifer of this team. So yeah, Shamila Connell is the lifer.
So she keeps everybody on their toes as well. So that's interesting.
Yeah, she's a good person, and good character and good person to be around. She always funny, but at times she get back to her business and her serious moment at times.
Well, cricket is evolving. There's a lot more focus now on women's cricket. One part of it is the hectic scheduling, back-to-back games, a lot of traveling involved, a lot of league cricket has progressed as well. So how are you seeing this evolution of cricket?
It's a good stepping stone for all the players out there. A lot of game more. So I think it's a great opportunity for the youngster to come out and showcase their talent. Because there's a lot of cricket coming around. Franchise as well. So I think it's just basically for remain focused and keep that discipline, and just give praise and thanks that one day you will get called for some franchise or some kind of league. So it's all about just believing in yourself and your ability, and that confidence and everything will come into part.
A lot more is required from any cricketer now as well. I mean, gone are the days where you could only pick just one domain and play in that. So now you got to be a good batter, somebody who can bowl as well, but most of all you got to be a terrific fielder, because the demands are going up. So as a player, how do you cope up with this? Because obviously then the training routine really, and it's not just about having a physically fit body, it's the mind as well that needs to be strong.
Yeah, it's like most team be looking for all-round players now. So basically, the mental part of it coming as well. Whereby you got to think on and off the field, at all times. So I think you've seen a lot of all-rounder coming around as well. So because it's not just about just batting and bowling, also the fielding aspect and the mental aspect of the game as well.
So over the course of your career, who's been the most competitive one that you faced as a player as well? Who, there is one player that you think about that, this is the real challenge I want to go through?
In my younger years playing for the West Indies, we played New Zealand, whereby they had this fast bowler that the name of Brown. So she was a good fast bowler. So at one time I get knocked out. I was batting three and I have a bounce, and it actually knocked me out. So I think she's a very aggressive bowler, and the kind of way that she's tall as well, and I'm so short. So yeah, Brown is a aggressive bowler for New Zealand.
But obviously I think once that you go through that, you take it as a challenge as well, then you want to actually face that.
Yeah, because after, in those, like the second game, and in the other game I was like you know, I was fully confident and brave enough to go and face her again. And I didn't stop or just get shy away of the contest. I carry it on, and the way by I start building confidence, and then I started to get comfortable with it and like playing her normal, and don't, like, you know, some people will shy away and get afraid, but I just stick to myself and just be composed all time.
There's a lot more focus on women's cricket now. There's a lot of talk about not just improving the structures, but increasing the number of games, giving more opportunities to girls as well. You're an experienced cricketer yourself. What do you think is the right way forward, you know, so we can not just invest in it more, but, you know, make it more diverse and involve many more girls out there as well?
I think, you know, basically it actually starts from the grassroots, whereby, you know, you got, like sort of sources that you get and invest in the women's more. So by, like, you know, you invest and you will get young players to come out and dedicate themselves to the sport, because it's like a full-time job, and so you get paid for it. So that's whereby players will take it serious and started to show the talent and put in that extra work and the effort. So I think what on and all is going pretty good so far, but it's just for the young players and other players to just grab it with both opportunity.
Certainly. How's your time been here so far? I understand it's been busy, but you know, the game side of it as well, the country, obviously. How have you enjoyed your time yourself?
Well, this is my third time. Pakistan is a nice country, but despite that, we cannot get to go out, you know, but still is a good place, you know, seeing pictures and stuff around, you know, is a pretty good place to play cricket. Definitely, you know, some good wicket at times, but all in all, I think the atmosphere is nice. Some good sun, not really hot, but yeah, it's a really nice place to be in Pakistan.
Well, finally, I must ask you, so many girls out there who have followed your career probably want to be the next Campbell for West Indies or for which any country that they're playing. What's your message out there to the young girls who want to play cricket and, you know, want to be inspired by this journey?
You know, for me, pretty simple. It's all about keep that confidence, because I'm a big person of confidence, and also discipline is one of my biggest things. Discipline. So the more you discipline, the more, you know, opportunity come your ways, and always believe in yourself. Stick to the basic, because they say in cricket the basic never change. So yeah, just stick to the basic and believe in yourself and keep working. One day that dream that you pursue will come to pass.
Certainly. Shameen, congratulations on a stellar career so far, and thank you so much for taking out time.
All right, thanks.
Well, you've heard from Shameen, and I think the highlight of whatever she said is the discipline part of it as well. All of you out there, which any discipline, you know, that you are in, whether it's any sport you're in, you need to have a discipline and a balance in there as well, whether it's training routines, whether it's playing. Only then you can probably achieve what you want to and have the necessary results as well. Stay tuned, because more is coming your way. You can talk to all the players that you want, but once you talk to the man in charge, I think that's the most important part of it, because obviously the technicalities matter, the professional side of it matters as well, and I think the way cricket is evolving, it's always important to know the brains behind the operation. So we've been joined by the brains behind the operations of the West Indies women's cricket team. Their coach, somebody who hails from the fantastic Bankstown in Australia, Shane Dates. Good afternoon, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good afternoon. Great to be in Pakistan, and yeah, it's been a fantastic tour so far.
Thank you very much. Obviously, the results speak for themselves as well, but I think I'm tempted to ask you, because of back-to-back scheduling, the way cricket is evolving so far. As a coach, you've always got to be on your toes and keep the team on your toes as well. So, you know, what's the dynamics like nowadays?
Yeah, it is tough to us, especially here, and obviously the security and things, we can't get out and do much to see the beautiful country of Pakistan, so that's probably the biggest challenge. But the girls are really professional, and now we're working on a new team culture, a new structure around the team off the field, and the girls have been brilliant, and you know, really take care of themselves. They've been really mature, so it's made my job really easy, actually.
Well, certainly, I guess you've got a great team to be around as well, who are actually listening to whatever you're telling them. I think that's the hardest part of it as well, to make them follow. But there's so much diversity and focus in the past couple of years in international women's cricket, I think, and even from the leagues part of it as well. So it's become not only diverse, but a lot more challenging as well. So as a coach, how do you make sure that the players are able to cope up with that as well? Back-to-back scheduling, games across formats, adjusting to the conditions. How do we do that?
Yeah, you're right. The women's game has changed a lot in the last 3 years, and for the better, I think. The more professionalism around the world, and the girls have an opportunity to make a real good career out of cricket, which is great for them, and it just allows them to be a bit more professional and dealing with these different countries, travelling, hotels in and out, missing family, those sort of things is very difficult. We have a great mental skills coach who was with the team for a while, so she's been a great resource for the girls to lean on when need be. And we've got good leaders with the team, great coaches, coaching staff, manager, everything. So we've got a good structure of support for the girls, and Cricket West Indies have been great to support them as well. So you've got to have all those foundations in place to allow the girls just to sort of come and play cricket. And if they need support, we're all there to help them out.
Well, they certainly don't just have the good music, the sea breeze, and the great food. The historical side of Cricket West Indies has been, I think, impacting on the world of cricket. Multiple times world champions in ODIs and T20s, and everybody talks about that Caribbean flavor. So that obviously, I think that's transcended into the women's team as well, that their mindset is very aggressive. And I think cricket has evolved to a point where hundreds are going to 150s and 150s are now going to 200s. So, as a coach yourself, how would you highlight that transformation where I think not just the aggressive side of it, but the demand is now even more?
Yeah. Now, it's interesting why you say that about the Caribbean cricket, because as a youngster growing up in Australia, my favourite team in the 80s was the West Indies. And I remember how they played, the approach they played. And I think Australian cricket took a lot from them, because we got beat down a lot from the West Indies. So we've got to match them and play the same style of cricket, which Australia did evolve, I think. And when I got the great opportunity to coach this team, one thing I said is the style of cricket I want to play is the traditional, Caribbean West Indies cricket from the past, because that's when they were the best. So let's relive that. Let's work out what we need to do that. Fitness, athleticism, have fun, play with a smile on your face, enjoy each other's company, enjoy all your tours, and make it a real fun time, which is the Caribbean flavour. So that's something I want to instill and bring back, and the girls really obviously would love to do that because that's in their nature. So that's what we're trying to do. And around the world, T20 cricket's changing, especially 200 is a good score now. Before, when I coached in the past, it was like 120, 130. As the game's changing, so we've just got to change with it. Give the girls freedom, particularly with the bat, to hit the ball, and if they make mistakes or trying to score fast and it doesn't work, we've got to say, that's a good shot. Next time, just do it a bit better, or it was a bit unlucky, didn't quite middle it. Next time, middle it. So we don't really talk down on them if they've made a mistake, because everyone makes mistakes. That's when you learn. But just give them the freedom to play that Caribbean style. So that's what we're trying to instill.
All kinds of crazy, obnoxious shots have come into the game as well. It doesn't matter if you're bowling at 150 Ks, you're going to get hit out of the park anytime.
Exactly right. And I think you got to take the old test cap head off and say the game's changed. It's different. When I played, I would never coach the way I play, because I played 4-day cricket. This is T20 cricket, white ball cricket, which has evolved in the last 5 years. IPL now, look at those scores, ridiculous. So you can't think of the past and how we played or how coaches were in the past. We've got to think, what's happening in the future? What can we do to be the next new thing and be innovative? So, as a coach, that's what you always got to look at.
Well, on the player side of it, I tell this to every young player as well who I meet and come across, that nowadays the demand of cricket is that you can't be restricted to one domain. So you just can't be a batter. You've got to be a batter who can bowl or a bowler who can bat. And especially the fielding side of it, the standards have gone up. So you need a complete player. So how do you see this evolution as well?
Yeah, I want everyone to bat and bowl or wicket keep if they can. So, and we've got nearly everyone can bowl who is in keeping. So I think that gives you great options. You can change things up. And also, as a player, it gives you, if you miss out with the bat, you can get a couple of wickets to the ball, which makes you actually give you more confidence. That you're not just relying on runs or wickets. You can express yourself in many ways, and particularly the bowlers got to learn to bat. They've got to learn to hit sixes. So then you can bat all the way through to 11 and keep attacking. So that's sort of what we're working on as well, our philosophy.
Well, certainly. There's a lot of talk about the balance of cricket, especially international cricket, because a lot more leagues have come into play as well. And although on the men's side it sounds a bit tricky because a lot of players now are focused there, and international cricket, the scheduling is a bit tough. But on the women's side of it, it's always, I think, great to have as much cricket as you can. So how would you see that balance as well?
Yeah, I think Well, I'd hate to coach men's cricket because there's so many leagues and the players can make money here than everywhere. Particularly for countries like Pakistan, West Indies, you probably make more money playing franchise. So it's a very difficult balance. But say the women's is a lot more balanced. Most international schedules are outside franchise cricket, and as long as we balance the workloads and give the players time off, the more cricket they can play with different players around the world. Hayley's a great example of that. She's playing in every league. We've got to manage her body and her mind and keep her fresh to play. But I think they're great opportunities for her and others to follow. And as you say, it's 12 months a year, but could be doing worse things than playing cricket 12 months a year.
Coach, what's the way forward for women's cricket? Because it's evolving now, things are changing. One thing that Pakistan and West Indies can relate on in women's cricket is the similar kinds of structures that have been very limited over the years, unlike Australia, which has got a fantastic women's cricket structure, and a lot of other countries as well. But for women's cricket particularly, because you're part of West Indies cricket and you've seen the Australian culture already, what's the way forward for any country like Pakistan?
Yeah, I think the level below, like you call it first class cricket or whatever it could be.
Grassroots level.
Grassroots, yeah, that's really important. If that's got a strong base, you've got players to pick from and structures to players to improve to get to international cricket standards before they get to the team. We're probably still trying to teach some of the basics when they get to international cricket, where they've got to be ready for that level. Where Australia can pick anyone from the Big Bash and they're going to be a good player at international level. So if those structures below are better and get a bit more funding, which is always about funding, and support and more cricket, and particularly a lot more coaches. I think also women's coaching pathways, a few more recently retired players involved with coaching, particularly at that level, and then they'll develop their coaching skills as well. So I think they're the two main areas.
Well, I was asking Hayley what kind of a skipper is she, and she said that, a lot of the time she hears that she's too soft as a skipper. But so I guess I must ask you, how's that synergy with you as well as a coach? Because like you said, you've got a fantastic bunch of girls who are listening to you already.
Yeah, well now she's finally listening to me, and when I send a message out doing it. At first, no, she's brilliant. And I think her strength is her knowledge of the game and reading the game. I've never met a female cricketer who can read the game like her, and we will be on top of the tactics. And she leads from the front in everything she does. Off field, she's total professional. So, you have to follow her because, she doesn't take any shortcuts. But her tactics are amazing. And I think that helps her batting as well. She can read the game really well. And just an easygoing girl and chilled out, which makes everyone a bit more relaxed as well. So I'm lucky to have her in my team.
Certainly. Well, the results speak for themselves as well. So far, it's always, I think a big boost to the team once you're winning. But I'm not going to ask you to let your secrets out, but what's next in the plans for women's cricket in West Indies? What are you aiming for? Obviously, ICC tournaments are a major part of it as well.
Yeah, we've got the World Cup in Bangladesh late September. We go to Sri Lanka in June, all of June. And then we've got the WCPL franchise cricket in the West Indies. We'll have some camps in between that. But yeah, we're sort of building up our T20 to that World Cup. Australia, England and India are a fair bit ahead of everyone. So we've got a big gap to fill there and try to catch up with them, which we're trying to do. But there's lots of cricket happening. We go India at the end of the year, and then we've got Bangladesh again. Lots happening. One other thing I'd really like to do is get some test cricket for West Indies and teams like us. We don't have to have lots of series, but the odd game and get the whites on and your traditional cap and feel like, you're a real West Indian cricketer or a Pakistani cricketer. I think that's real important to try to get a bit of test cricket involved as well.
Anybody, like yourself who's played 4-day cricket is definitely going to love that format, obviously. That's going to be your favorite. But also I think it's important that you as a coach talk about that obviously T20 cricket is there. You've got to evolve as a one-day and a T20 cricketer, but it's very important to, to still enjoy the real format of the game, which is test cricket.
Yeah, and I think all formats are very different, a different skill set. I know old people say T20 is just bash and have fun. Well, there's actually a lot of tactics involved and a lot of skills to play all those shots. It's not easy, So that's a different skill set altogether to test cricket. And I think as a player, your career is short. You'd love to play every format and try everything out and be the best you can be. So there's lots to learn for the girls to play test cricket. Hopefully it doesn't diminish from our T20 cricket, but I think it's just Be great to give them the opportunity to win their.
I think it's gone to the
Will
next
they
level,
retire?
hasn't it? It's not just different players for different formats. Now it's different team managements for different formats, different coaches now for different
Yeah,
formats.
particularly the men's, they've got so much cricket on. You know, they'll never see their families if they didn't have some separate coaches. But I'm glad Pakistan's got my
Yeah.
old mate Jason Gillespie
Yeah,
in.
we've scored an Aussie as well right now.
Yeah, I played a lot with him at South Australia, so yeah, he's a great man. He'll do a great job. So it's a good appointment, I think.
Right. Finally, Shane, I must ask you, so many young skippers out there as well, so many young boys and girls out there who want to, see cricket as a professional career for them as well. What's your, golden words to them as well? What do they need to do, focus on, to be the next big thing in cricket?
Yeah, I think always remember why we play the game. It's fun. That's why we went out and when we were kids we play all night and have fun. So it's definitely that. It's definitely be the best you can be. Don't try to be Hayley Matthews. When you're young, you got to build up to that. Just try to get better every day. Small little improvements every day, and finally over time, you get better. But all aspects, I think, your training, your fitness, your strength and conditioning, your planning, your diets, all those little things, they add up to big things in the end, and then you can be a total professional.
No shortcuts. That's
No,
what you gotta
there's no magic pill to make you a superstar. There's only hard work and dedication and sacrifice, like in any job, really.
Certainly. Well, Coach, thank you very much for joining us. Congratulations on a terrific series so far. And I think all the best for the future assignments as well.
Yep, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. You've heard from the coach of the West Indies women's cricket as well, Shane Dates. He's talked about the fact that, like we say, there's no shortcuts. You've got to believe in yourself, but always remember the fun side of the game as well. Don't let, the results bother you so much if you're in the learning phase as well. We've heard it from the players, you've heard it from the coach as well. I think we've brought you all of this exclusive content and there's a lot, I think, to relate to as well when you hear these stories and you hear the dynamics as well. Inspirational words as well from all of them, and I am sure that you've enjoyed this exclusive content as well. And of course, before we say thank you, I want to send out a big thank you to our team from Karachi, obviously in PTV, to all our technical crew. We can talk about everybody involved, from the Karachi Centre to the technical people you don't normally see on screen, but trust me, behind the scenes, they're the real brains of our operation. So thank you very much to all our team from Karachi as well, and I hope that you've enjoyed this. Until next time, from me and the entire team of Sports Extra, it's goodbye for now.